Good evening, guys. Hello. Can everyone hear me? Please type yes if you can hear me. Hello, hello. Hi, Keshav. Hi, Sonika. Hi, Anoop. Hi, Hardik. Super. All right. So let's begin. So we have about 22 stocks today. And before I begin, of course, I need to tell you that, हम जब भी trading करते हैं या हम जब भी मेरे experience में हमने trading किया है. So you need to understand that there are few months or a couple of months in a year where you don't have anything, there's seldom something. And क्योंकि हमारे पास कुछ ट्रेड के लिए नहीं होता है तो हम फोमो में ट्रेड कर लेते हैं. ठीक है, हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू एग्री विद दिस? बिकॉज आई हैव बीन स्पीकिंग टू अ लॉट ऑफ यू एंड आई हर्ड दैट अरे इस महीने तो स्टॉक्स ही नहीं चल रहा है तो हम क्या करें, चलाओ चलाओ. एंड ऑल आई हैव बीन सेइंग इज दैट इट्स ओके, हाउ डज इट मैटर बाकी 10 महीने हमने कमाए हैं, अगर 2 महीने या 1 महीना थोड़ा स्लो चलता है, साइडवेज चलता है, वी आर स्टिल ओके. वी नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हेन टू मूव अवे, व्हेन टू मूव एंड सिट ऑन द साइडलाइंस. ऑलराइट. सो अगर आप if you understand, this is very important, because if you see that the markets are behaving erratically and they're not really moving anywhere or sideways chal raha hai, to sit out, doesn't matter, enjoy your life. Yeah. So now let's start with the scan. So I've got weekly and daily charts. Now here in the first chart we've got Adani Enterprises. All right, we've got a very different mix this week. So you see, this is Adani Enterprise, and at support level, I've got a bullish divergence in the daily chart. Now, in the daily chart, of course, there's a tick up. Yesterday and today was a follow through, so one could have traded if they wanted, but I think it is the last 15-minute candle which actually broke out in the hourly time frame. You can see that, right? So, of course, that kind of closed somewhere here. So we need like a good follow through on Tuesday, because Monday is an off day again. So there's a lot of uncertainty, and that is why people are not carrying a lot of positions as well. But yes, if you do have a good follow through, then at S1 you have a bullish divergence in Adani Enterprise. This sounds pretty decent. Then you've got Adani Ports. Now Adani Ports as well, same thing. You've got at EMA, which is also at CPR, monthly CPR. So it goes up, comes to at EMA, and you've got a bullish divergence in RSI and the MACD. Now, of course, the last 15 minutes is when it kind of actually moved up, but we've got a CPR here. You can, of course, put an alert here, or maybe the best is to put an alert above the high of the previous day. So let's add an alert here. All right. Of course, Monday is a holiday, so you need to kind of wait for Tuesday to give you any kind of an understanding, what's going to happen. Then you've got Apollo Tires, of course, weekly sensor divergence fell, and now this has gone back to a decent test of the divergence, which RSI also suggests. Yahan pe, of course, you can see the prices come to the EMA. Now at EMA, I've got a bullish divergence in the hourly chart. Of course, the tick up is the last 15-minute candle. Now, if it falls down, I'm not putting this as a selling trade, because my RSI is above here. It's not created a bearish divergence here and all that. So I'll be, if it does fall down, I'll probably think about it later. But you see where my alert is above the weekly CPR. So if it goes higher, then I would be interested in, considering this trade and considering this black candle in the weekly chart just like a correction, if you know what I mean. But however, there is a tendency that this could be like a 0, 1, 2 and can fall or something like that. But just considering everything that I have in front of me, it feels like it's going to come to EMA and then pull back at least till these levels once more. So agar waisa hota hai, then of course this is how I'm going to treat this. Let's move on. Then we have Asian Paints. We tried taking a trade here as well last time, but of course that was an early trade. It did not go above the CPR. It was at monthly R1 and everything just wasn't correct. So we got out of it very, very quickly. Now, of course, it has come till the EMA. It's got a bullish divergence once again in the hourly chart here, right? And decent, so narrow CPR as well. So I've got an alert above the CPR, which is also above the high of the previous day, which is today. I think I'm, yeah, third, did I put it? Yeah, somewhere here. So that's a good alert. And I think if that happens, if there's a gap up or something of that sort with 1 hour giving me a buying signal, then I might get in on this. Then I've got Balkrishna Industries. Balkrishna Industries has a weekly bearish divergence. There's a tick down. However, there's a long wick. Now, a couple of things. It has a double top, like basically a resistance level here. So at resistance level, I have a bearish divergence, the weekly chart, and the prices did fall from here in the daily chart. You can see this, but bounced back pretty quickly a couple of days later. Now, if this is a fall and this is a pullback, then at pullback, I've got a bearish divergence in the hourly chart and a narrow CPR. So my alert is set below the CPR. So if it goes below that, preferably with a gap down, then I'm in. If not, then of course we got to wait and see what to do. All right, then we have BEL. BEL, I've got, I think, yes, RSI bearish divergence and MACD bearish divergence in the weekly chart. In the daily chart, of course, this is R1. It is going, you know, below R1 now. You've got resistance level here as well. So let me just sync it in the weekly chart as well. All right, so you've got like a nice divergence in the weekly chart. There's a pullback here at EMA. Yes, you do have a bullish divergence and all that, and feels like a 0.12. But even if it does like come back up here, and you can, you know, at this level, just be careful and maybe and look for something. But if it does give you a follow through on the downside, then you know you got to trade in here as well. Okay, so if there's a gap down or something, use the WCPR and like maybe take a trade on the downside. However, the daily candle kind of restricts us to do that. So maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday or something, that you'd get something out of it. But yes, weekly there is a divergence. Dabur India, it is weekly at EMA. Daily, I think there's a bearish divergence, yes. And there's a narrow CPR. So you can put an alert below the lows today. So let's put an alert here. And you know, if I zoom out this, let me just remove the drawing. In fact, if I zoom out this, right, so it could give you possibly a pullback on the downside as well. So this looks decent as well, decent setup. Then we come to Federal Bank. Federal Bank, of course, we have a weekly bearish divergence. There is a follow through this week as well. Monthly CPR, of course, restricting any kind of selling. At EMA, there was a bullish divergence, censored, gone up. Now you can put an alert below the narrow CPR here because there is a weekly bearish divergence. If there is a gap down or anything of that sort, then you can take probably a trade on the downside. All right. Then we move on to GAIL. Now GAIL has a typical setup. You can see this, right? A bearish divergence, then a pullback. And if you can see, the pullback is pretty good as well, right? 78.6. At the pullback, here you can see it was monthly R1, and you know you look to kind of take selling positions, which was this week. Now again, we have a narrow CPR. So if you see in my hourly chart, which is the rightmost chart here, yahan pe sabse right side mein, you see there's a horizontal line, shoulder, head, and this should come and hit the S1 first. And you know, if the divergence has to work and it has to fall, then maybe break the HNS as well. So maybe I put an alert here. All right, and if you want to trade till here or maybe wait for the breakout, it's up to you, but that is what the plan suggests. All right, then we move on to Glenmark Pharma. Now Glenmark Pharma, at weekly EMA, there was a bullish divergence. Everything looks all right apart from the fact that the monthly CPR ke upar closing nahi ho raha hai, which is something that you want to happen. Of course, last week was a broad weekly CPR. This time it's a narrow weekly CPR. So we could probably put an alert here. Just so that, if it starts moving on the upside, then we know that, it might go higher. Then we have Hindustan Copper. Excuse me. Then we have Hindustan Copper. Hindustan Copper is in the list because of the hourly chart. So let me just make this bigger. So Hindustan Copper had a resistance here. So you can see how it fell, and it kind of broke out. And then this is your change in polarity. Now, this is also the narrow CPR. So putting an alert here, because if there's a gap up or some kind of, there was a bullish divergence here also, which basically enabled the buying. Now, if you get like a gap up or something, this could be also traded on the upside. It looks all right. Now, again, going back to the daily and the weekly chart, of course, looks all right. And, you can expect the prices to go higher. Trading wise as well, you can expect the prices to go higher. So this is basically low, high, EMA, high, EMA, high, something like that. All right. So that's a plan for Hindustan Copper. Excuse me. Then we have ICICI Bank. ICICI Bank, of course, it's kind of had a bearish divergence, then retest and fall. But in the daily chart, you can see there was a point of interest, double top breakout, CIP fall, resistance fall. Now, while doing that, it had created a bullish divergence and then a 0.12 at the monthly CPR. At 0.12, we have a bullish divergence in the hourly chart. Although this is a narrower CPR than last week, but still not the narrowest, but it is a narrow CPR. So if market suggests an up move, then it might just go up from here and your entry would be okay. But however, if it kind of does something for a couple of days, creating a bearish divergence and goes below the CPR, of course there's nothing you can do and you need to step away from it. All right. So ICICI Bank, because it has a probable 0.12, well, almost confirmed 0.12 in the daily chart. Indigo, daily bearish divergence. Yes, sometimes there are some stocks that don't give you money, sometimes they don't really move. And there is a counter trend. You can see hourly chart, there is a trend line breakout as well. Wide CPR, but if this is something that interests you, there is a bearish divergence in the daily chart. Then we go to Kotak Bank. Kotak Bank में bullish divergences चल रहे हैं weekly chart में. That is fine. Monthly CPR is acting as support. Went till R1, came back till pivot, and you see my alert is above the CPR, which is probably a little wider than last week's, but still above the CPR because because of the bullish divergence in the weekly chart, you're expecting higher prices. Whether it happened or not, we don't know, but the alert is set. फिर हम आते हैं लालपात लैब्स पे. लालपात लैब्स में you can see there's a bearish divergence, like triple bearish divergence, and at a nice resistance level as well. If you can see it in the, let me just make it visible in the daily chart as well. You can see here, let me just, so there's a nice resistance level. There is a bearish divergence in the weekly chart. So if it gives you a follow through, which is, but because of today, of course it went higher. If it does give you like a bearish divergence in the daily chart also and then falls, or maybe breaks this support level here, then maybe you can think about doing something. But of course, as the rule says, the low of the tick down candle needs to be broken. Iska low tootne mein bhi kafi time hai, which is the support level anyway, so you can wait for that. Lotus Labs, now again surprisingly, last week shooting star ke baad there was another doji kind of a candle. Iska low tootne se you were in, but these are weird spikes on the upside. You see monthly CPR wide hai, upar ja nahi raha. So I don't know whether it'll give you a trade this month, like before the expiry, or it'll give you a trade next month. But it is set. Like, look at the weekly candles. It's beautiful. Fall at EMA and it's waiting to fall. And fall came with a bearish divergence as well. So this is a good setup. All you need is a closing below the monthly CPR and a follow through, which hasn't happened yet. और ये एक support line है. If you can see my line here, let me just make it thicker. This line here, which is always acting as support, maybe breaks that and then you enter, which is below the S1 next week. So either way, and of course on the resistance side, 378, this is of course a false breakout. 379 is not breaking. In the middle is a false breakout. So this seems like something that is ready to fall. So a lot of slabs as well, like keep an eye on it, but look for like a breakout, because this is not, it's just moving sideways, consolidating right now. फिर हम आते हैं LTFH पे, जहां पे वीकली में बेरिश डाइवर्जेंसेस हैं. लास्ट वीक शूटिंग स्टार डोजी बना हुआ था, इस वीक उसका लो टूट चुका है. एंड डेली चार्ट में, इफ यू सी इन द आर्ली चार्ट वेयर आई मेड दिस लाइन हियर ऑन राइट मोस्ट साइड, देयर इज अ शोल्डर, हेड शोल्डर. अगर ये टूट जाता है, गैप डाउन और समथिंग ऑफ दैट सॉर्ट, then you know the target, how it's calculated. You could probably trade for that. You could probably trade for that, and you'll be fine. All right, then we come to Muthoot Finance. Muthoot Finance में weekly में एक gap है. You can see this, right? Let me redraw this. So if you see here, weekly chart में एक gap है which is not being exhausted, right? Now Muthoot, this is just a gap trade. So उस gap पे daily में bearish divergence है, takedown है, the low is not been broken. You can see my alert is below the kind of a support that it has been taking. So ये अगर low टूटता है यहाँ and stop loss above the CPR or maybe this high here, and this would be fantastic. But that's the kind of trade, just because of the gap that we have here. All right, but of course we need to have a confirmation of this information. M&M, of course it is at EMA, so weekly no problem here, right? Chota sa divergence fell at till EMA, gone back. Is it 012 or not? I'm not sure. Now this is in the list because it has come till the EMA in the daily chart. So it started and then you have a hourly bullish divergence here, a series of hourly bullish divergences. Now if it goes above the CPR in the weekly in the hourly chart, the weekly CPR, one can take a risk, I believe. So M&M is in the list because of that. Then you have Pidilite Industries. Pidilite Industries, आप देख सकते हैं नीचे गिरा, EMA पे आया. EMA पे there is a bearish divergence, the daily chart, and then that is a low that needs to be broken, which is below the S1 again. But that is how it is. This is what I think should break before anyone can take a trade on the downside. All right. फिर हम आते हैं Ramco Cement पे. Ramco Cement, I think this is your breakout. There is a bearish divergence in the weekly chart, and that's your tick down. So it needs a follow through. अगर यहाँ तक है तब तक this is not a very good risk reward. If it breaks down, I think I'm gonna get rid of this because एक तो wide CPR भी है. So let's get rid of Ramco Cement, and then talk about Sanjeev International. Sanjeev International fall comes back to the EMA in the weekly chart, which is also change in polarity. You can see here. So breakout, change in polarity. Now this is just a change in polarity trade. There's a narrow CPR. I've put an alert below that. Now whether it goes in the early chart upside, creates a divergence and falls, I'm not sure. But if it does go below CPR and close below CPR, then I'm gonna be interested. All right. Again, remember Monday is a holiday, and this is what we're going to do, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we do a month analysis next week sometime. I'll let you know what the time is. Now let's do Nifty, Bank Nifty before I talk about stocks. All right, very, very interesting. Now Nifty, let me open this chart one by one. So of course, let's just make this hourly chart disappear for a second. Let's look at the weekly chart. Now the weekly chart had a bearish divergence earlier. I think it has not completely come up till, it has 78.6%, pretty much, right? First, again, I'm not saying that I'm bearish completely or anything, but a possibility, right? There's just a possibility that this is right here. Monthly chart, of course, the month looks good. Depends on how the next week ends like, but the monthly candle looks all right. Weekly, as I said, if it breaks the low, you see where my alert is, the low of the week. If it breaks the low, then that is something to worry about. Now, of course, globally, I think I've checked Dow Jones and stuff. I don't think I've seen recently anything that is scary or something, so it might not really happen. Now, in the daily chart, let's come to the daily chart quickly. I've already shown you the weekly chart. In the daily chart, there was a support line here, but this gap, this particular gap, which is also, if I extend this is a point of interest. Okay, so point of interest, resistance, fall, resistance. Now, unfortunately, there's no bearish divergence here in the daily chart right now. Okay, now, but there are series of poor candles here, and I'm not putting a CPR right now, but let's go to the hourly chart. Now, hourly chart, you can see, of course, this is the line that I've just drawn on the daily chart, so let me get rid of it. There is a nice shoulder, head, and a shoulder in Nifty. This is also, once again, a nice resistance level. So either it break this gap here in the hourly chart needs to exhaust for any fall. Okay, for any upside, this resistance line needs to be broken. Maybe because Monday is a holiday, it can break out with a huge gap. Fair enough. So breakout and a follow through, one can take a trade. Or on the downside, if it exhausts this with a gap and then follow through, one can take that trade as well. Now, using the CPR, of course, monthly doesn't change. So let's just put a CPR here. Sorry, future pivots. All right, so it's a narrow CPR. Let me just make this bigger. So you can see this is a narrow CPR. This week CPR upar hi tha, month CPR is way below. You can see way below. So either wait for the new monthly CPR to pop in, or ये narrow CPR का फायदा उठा सकते हैं. It is below the S1. Below S1 इसका alert लगा हुआ है. So we can probably use that. But as I said, this is a point of interest. So you're gonna see if this is a shoulder का अगर low टूट जाता है, that's also a nice confirmation कि this might fall. And agar high टूट जाता है, then this might go up. So either way, you've got a really nice setup, or really you are at a nice place you don't want to miss. So whenever you get an opportunity, that is what you're going to do. Now let's come to Bank Nifty and discuss again one by one. So we've got a weekly chart here. So there was a bearish divergence here, fell, pullback, fell. That's your neckline here. You see, this is your neckline. If this is a double top, this is my neckline. That's also a point of interest here. So that becomes your resistance. Right now, let's go to the monthly chart. Actually, monthly chart, you see, it's beautiful bearish divergence coming till the exponential moving average. Now, of course, this can go till the EMA and do something, or this can go the other way as well. If there was a bullish divergence here in the weekly chart, I would have been happier talking about bullishness. However, in the daily chart, again, if I have to draw something, so this would be my resistance. Then this is, so double top. So this would be my neckline. So let's draw the neckline. Right? So double top, delta, support, breakout, change in polarity. Now a gap up exhausted by a gap down is pretty scary, right? A gap up exhausted by a gap down is not that great. So जब तक इसके ऊपर नहीं जाता है, I'm pretty reluctant to buy anything. और जब तक इसके नीचे है, तब तक मुझे buy नहीं करना है. और क्योंकि कैंडल्स अच्छे बन रहे हैं, तो मुझे सेलिंग का भी अभी तक अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं मिल रहा है. Now, of course, I can pull this here as well and use this as support level as well. But anyway, एक एक करके करते हैं. इसको मैं यहाँ जो डबल कहा था उसको लगा देते हैं ना. Now, let's go to my hourly chart. अब hourly chart में, as I said, resistance. This is my support level. I can just pull back this for clarity. Either. And as I said, अगर यहाँ पे bullish dive था, so if this makes a dip and goes back up, I'm fine, like bullishness and all that. But if it kind of gap down खुल के फिर नीचे गिरता है, then I'll be tempted to sell. Now मैंने सुबह ही एक 15 मिनट के चार्ट में, just because इतना sideways movement है, so we need some micro analysis. तो हम 15 मिनट के चार्ट में, in fact, let me just मिनट से हटा देते हैं. हमने एक head and shoulder बनाया था. So one is possibility of this. So basically, One is this, it goes here and then comes here, goes here and breaks out and does all that thing. The other is if it rejects after creating a shoulder, but this is a point of interest. It needs to break out or does something. So basically what I'm saying is either it breaks out CIP and gives you a trade on the upside, or it goes here and then starts falling. All right, either way. Now, there's another neckline that can be drawn here, which is, I think, somewhere here. Let me just draw this properly. I think it's here. Yeah, a lot of touch points. So that's your shoulder, that's your head, and that's your shoulder. Now, once again, if it breaks out on the upside, gap up and ऊपर जाता है, then fair enough, this gap can be tested. इतना ही target है इसका. And अगर ये नीचे की ओर गिरता है, then you know what to do. You can sell as well. All right, but that is micro analysis just because it is being moving in that fashion. There's nothing else you can do. All right. So that is the game plan for Nifty and Bank Nifty. Let me just refresh this once again. Now, if I plot the CPR, so of course daily chart में तो कुछ नहीं है, hourly chart में CPR लगाते हैं. So future CPR is a narrow CPR. अगर इसके ऊपर बंद होता है या R1 को तोड़ देता है, then we're good to start taking buying positions. Of course, remember there's a gap here which is a very, very strong resistance. The other side, if it falls lower, if it falls below the weekly CPR and starts falling lower, then we're gonna take a short. We're gonna start taking short positions. That is the plan for Bank Nifty as well, and same Nifty as well. So Tuesday opening will be a crucial opening because that will determine what we're going to do with Nifty and Bank Nifty. All right. Now let's talk about. I'm not going to talk about gold or silver or anything because US is shut today, or it's going to close soon because it is Thanksgiving. Yesterday it was shut yesterday. It's going to be shut today as well. So we're going to talk about stocks. Stocks to invest before we move on to your questions. All right, so the first stock that we would like to talk about that is interesting this week is, or this month, is Thyrocare. Thyrocare had a good bullish divergence, gone till the exponential moving average, and now you see in the weekly chart there's a good weekly candle as well. So any follow through could be a nice way to trade on the upside. This could be a nice head and shoulder as well. And once it breaks out from this could be taken on the upside. So Thyrocare is a good plan. Then we have Anuras. Anuras at monthly EMA, we have a weekly bullish divergence. Now, of course, it's above the R1 and everything, and it looks all right as well. The entry could have been on 6th November wala week, but if the monthly candle closes like this, I think next month onwards also, if it gives you a follow through, that can be taken. And of course, we have IEX. Now, very tricky because these two candles combined is basically suggesting a pure rejection of higher prices, which is scary. But if I ignore the daily chart and if I just pay attention to my weekly chart or monthly chart, I think if next month kind of pulls back on the upside and anywhere 145 to 150, wherever, then this is a beautiful bullish divergence in stochastic, in MACD. And it suggests basically that the prices are going to go higher. Now it could take a month, it could take a couple of months, but the risk is basically 115 rupees, which is this low here. But that is how it is. IEX. So we got three stocks: Thyrocare, Anuras, and IEX for you today. All right. So any stocks that you want me to look at, guys, whoever's here, I'll be happy to do that. Uniparts, AWL, Cipla, and Campus. I think they're all investment stocks. So let me look at here. Uniparts. और न्यू स्टॉक है यार, मंथली में तो कुछ है ही नहीं डेटा. वीकली, डेली कुछ नहीं है यार. It's falling below monthly CPR. So unless it goes above monthly CPR, we can't really do anything right now. But it's giving dividends, so maybe not too bad. Technically speaking, अभी तक कुछ setup वाला बात नहीं है इस पे. Then we have AWL. Adani Wilmer, monthly candle looks all right, but again, trailing highs चल रहे हैं तो एक high तो टूटना जरूरी है before anything good happens. I think ये last time भी हमने बात किया था, there is no divergence here, RSI is bearish, but there is a point of interest. So या तो इसके ऊपर जाए तब हम interest दिखाएं, और या कोई CPR के ऊपर जाए, I think इसके ऊपर जाए, इस level के ऊपर जाए तब हम कुछ interest दिखाएं, अभी कुछ नहीं है इसमें भी. Cipla fell here. Cipla should be in my, it's in my blue list, but it is because of this candle today. There's a bearish divergence in the daily chart, in the weekly chart, sorry, and it's from a resistance level here in the daily chart, right? So it's actually selling opportunity in Cipla. You know, there's a beautiful, but low needs to be broken, and that might happen like maybe a pullback on Tuesday and then Wednesday onward or something like that. You can also draw the neckline. And अगर इसके तोड़ दिया तो this distance is your first target as well. So Cipla seems like I don't know how it's gonna be, because इसका low टूटना जरूरी है weekly chart में, and which can only happen if it pulls back and gives you a trade. In fact, Cipla can be in the purple list as well. It's just because so much risk to take, I've not put it. Let's put it in the purple list. All right. What else do we have? Campus. Campus, weekly bullish divergence, yes. Censored है थोड़ा सा. And monthly you can see trailing lows चल रहा है since July. Trailing highs चल रहा है. So the high needs to break for anything substantial to happen. Just use the CPRs if possible. CPR को भी देखो. You can use that as well. But Campus also, I'm not very confident right now because censored RSI. यार. I don't take risk with the RSI censorship. Maruti is also in my blue list. This is because I just want to see whether it's a daily 012 or it's really, you know, on the upside. So Maruti, I'm going to open in this template. Right. So Maruti, you know, so there's a bearish divergence here in the weekly chart. It's got a pullback here. So now if the low breaks, I want to know that as well. So basically if it goes below the monthly CPR. Now intraday trade or daily trade wise, it is at EMA, there's a bullish divergence. You see my alert is above the CPR, but I would also like to put an alert below monthly CPR, you know, because if it does go lower, then it just seems like a divergence pullback and then, you know, fall on the downside. So a lot of downside falling opportunities, which basically I'm not happy about. But yes, that is what it is about Maruti as well. Aarti Drugs. Voltas मैंने list से हटाया था. I'll tell you why. I don't know. Let's look at the list in a minute. Aarti Drugs, I think let's change this hourly into monthly quickly. So monthly, of course, this is a spinning top, which is basically itna upar gaya to pause and then maybe resume going upside. Weekly chart में ऐसा कुछ खास है नहीं, और daily chart में there was a divergence, so maybe above monthly CP or something. So Aarti Drugs is all right. Like it's okay. Like, you know, you can expect prices to bounce back, but कब होगा वो अभी तक नहीं पता मुझे. Maybe not the exact moment right now, maybe soon, you know. But monthly में है divergence and all that. Yes, sure. Then we have HDFC Life. All right, let me open HDFC Life here. Yes, monthly is super, right? So if you're holding the stock, I'm holding the stock. If you're holding the stock, looks all right. Weekly as well, you could see there was a change in polarity, looks all right as well. And daily there was a divergence and it looks all right as well. Yeah, fantastic, right? No problem here in HDFC Life. If you're holding it for like longer term, this is fine. Praj Industries. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, ये सब ठीक है, ये सब बढ़ रहे हैं, तो क्या मैं, you know, if your question is, should I book or should I, booking is, you know, up to you, what is enough for you. But excuse me, the entry was here in March and this is beautiful, no problem here. RVNL. Oh yes, there was a huge roar about this stock. Yes, looks all right. Again, there's no bearish divergence censored here, so no problem here. Sort of resistance at 175 odd levels, but ठीक है, no problem yet. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, कोई प्रॉब्लम है. एंड ये एक गैप है वीकली चार्ट में, इसको लगा के रखो. ये आपका kind of a support ground है. If it exhausts, then quickly start getting out. But unless it does, it's all good. SPLIL, SPL Industries, all right. Yeah, technical analysis wise, if you ask me, I'm only going to look at like a monthly chart or something. Looks okay यार. Gradually upward moving graph है, कोई दिक्कत लग नहीं रहा है अभी. I don't look at divergence in these stocks because हर समय बना हुआ रहेगा. ठीक है, so looks all right, nothing. Voltus में weekly EMA पे, yes, so again there's a head and shoulder neckline here. CIP fell, resistance at EMA. Now at EMA, ये weekly at EMA and daily में इधर है. Oh, let me open it here. Sorry, this is actually a trading stock. Yeah, so weekly, हाँ, तो ये बना हुआ है मेरा neckline. So ये मेरा trend line, but there's no divergence that I can really use and stuff. So maybe it's coming down to create a divergence. Yeah, it's just, I think the future pivot is also now that it's आएगा plot हो रहा है. It's wide CPR. So yeah, अभी कुछ नहीं है यार. I don't know. Like if it is falling at EMA and I need to buy, then it's going to be above the CPR here. But I think it's going to come down, create some divergence or something, and do then whatever it needs to be done. अभी कुछ नहीं है मेरे पास Voltas के लिए. NMDC. Excuse me, is doing well यार. So कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. इसको monthly में भी देखना है तो अगर आप देख सकते हो. Started again here. Well, started with a bullish divergence here. ऊपर EMA था. Doing well, nothing to do. If you want to trade in this, then I think daily EMA पे ये अभी था ना इस week, but weekly white CPR था. इस बार narrow है, narrow के ऊपर जाएगा तब कर लेना. लेकिन let it pull back till the daily EMA at least for any trading opportunity, right? Okay. ITC and sale. ITC though is not moving here. So again, weekly has a bullish divergence, shady divergence, but still has a bullish divergence. Monthly CPR बहुत, daily chart में monthly CPR is very wide, so maybe it's just waiting for this month to pass on and then maybe take a trade. इसके लिए इसीलिए मैंने इसको लिस्ट से हटा दिया. ITC नहीं है मेरे लिस्ट में. सेल में कुछ जरूर है. Sorry, I opened a BSC sale, a future sale or something. Yeah. Yeah, sale has a gap here, which is also a point of interest. So you can see this, right, which is acting as resistance. So sale में bullish divergence था 0.2, बढ़ गया. Now at EMA, there's no bullish divergence here. If you want, you can try and buy above the CPR. I would suggest buy above the gap exhaustion if you're looking to buy. However, there was a bearish divergence, fell till EMA. Again, ये हो सकता है ऊपर जाके यहाँ पे bearish divergence बना के फिर गिरे, like re-entry trade. But but till that happens, we are just guessing. So guess करके कोई फायदा नहीं है. इसलिए सेल भी लिस्ट में नहीं है. R1 तक गया था, फिर नीचे आ गया. So अभी इसका कुछ नहीं करना है. Nothing to do about this. Suven Pharmaceuticals. Suven Pharmaceutical at resistance in the weekly chart. I think you want this template पे. Suven Pharmaceuticals. Yes, at resistance, but looks alright. It's an upward moving graph. So अभी तक कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. कोई दिक्कत नहीं है यार. It's all good. Suven Pharmaceutical. DCM Shri Ram. You're saying big one. I don't know what that means. Shri Ram Industry Limited. Let's see what the big one means. ये तो नया है. This looks alright. So no problem here. अच्छा ही चल रहा है. कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. there's another DCM, so let's try that one. If that is no, this one only, right? DCM Sri Ram Limited. Let's try that. Is that the big one? Not loading. 938. Maybe that's the big one. In the monthly chart, bearish divergence, censored resistance, point of interest for kuch nahi yaar. If you're asking me at an investment angle, let this candle finish. Let the monthly scan happen यार. वो होने के बाद ही हम बात करेंगे, क्योंकि ये कैंडल बंद होने के बाद ही हम इसका कुछ बता पाएंगे. मंथली कैंडल ना, उसके लिए एक हफ्ता और बचा है. दीपक फर्टिलाइजर्स, green list. So yeah, so you see monthly gap exhausted at EMA. There was a bullish divergence, टक गया, लेकिन ये गैप में हमने ये बात भी किया था कि ये गैप हमेशा तंग करे, मतलब जब तक तंग कर रहा है करेगा, बट यू नीड द प्राइसेस टू गो हायर. सो मे बी मंथली CPR प्लॉट करेंगे नेक्स्ट मंथ का और देखेंगे कैसा जाता है. मे बी दिस, लेट्स सी हाउ द कैंडल क्लोजेस. इफ इट्स अ ब्लैक कैंडल देन हमें एक और महीना वेट करना है. Maybe it comes down, creates a bullish divergence in the monthly chart and then goes up. I don't know, you know, but it seems like कि यहाँ पे एक दो मंथ में अगर एक bullish candle आ जाएगा, then maybe this will go back up go back on the upside. But this gap still irritates me, you know. A gap that is exhausted is a gap that is exhausted, you know. Munjo something, Munjo's show. All right. Monthly bullish divergence, yes, goes up at resistance. All right, pulls back to the EMA. मेरे पास पर weekly chart है. Weekly chart decent candle, not closing above the monthly CPR is a problem. I think इसके ऊपर, I think I'm, in fact I'll put an alert as well, है ना. इसके ऊपर alert लगाना ठीक है. But it looks okay, like there's no bearishness here. It's just there's a resistance here, और हर resistance पे ऐसा चक्कर रहता है, you know. Let's see. Next is LIC. Point of interest is like a resistance or support line. Point of interest is like हमें उस level पे देखना है कि क्या हो रहा है, कि क्या sellers ज्यादा हैं तो reject होंगे, और अगर breakout हो गया तो point of interest breakout हो गया तो वहां पे हमें कुछ करना है. मतलब उस level पे हमें interest है कि क्या हो रहा है, उसको हमें धीरे धीरे समझना है. Make sense? LIC. LIC. Oops, sorry. You said daily bird. Let's go back. Munjal show. Oh, this छोटा सा bird. हाँ है तो सही. Daily bird है, लेकिन आज का rejection भी है. I don't know how good volume is. Daily के देख के तो लग नहीं रहा है volume वाला stock है. But daily bird at weekly में, yes, sure. And monthly में, sure. मतलब I'm happy to. मेरा कहने का मतलब है, मैं अगर instead of 130, 839, if even try enter at 160, सीलिंग खुला हुआ है, सो कंफर्मेशन पे एंटर करना बेटर रहेगा कि नहीं वाला क्वेश्चन है, राइट? आई थिंक. बट यस, दिस इज वन फॉर द शो, सो लेट मी जस्ट पुट इट इन माय ग्रीन लिस्ट. व्हाई नॉट? देन वी हैव LIC मैंने किया ना, नहीं, LIC, the last stock here. It's loading. Oh wow. Yeah, looks all right. So, you know, so this is a new stock, right? So weekly tuck, higher, lower, higher, low, higher, tuck. If it gives you a follow through, fair enough. यहाँ पे bearish था weekly में, इसलिए नीचे आया था. Yeah, so you need to draw some sort of resistance level or some kind of a thing that will help you enter this trade. So maybe this is your range, right? So if it kind of breaks out of that, then that's a good sign for you. All right, let's see how Tuesday happens. You know, so I think this would be decent as well for LIC. All right, thank you very much, guys. Has been great. Enjoy. As I said, stay safe. Couple of months. मैंने शुरू में बताया था, हो सकता है कभी-कभी ट्रेड नहीं मिले, तो अगर ट्रेड नहीं मिलता है तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि हम उसे ढूंढने निकल जाते हैं, हम आराम करते हैं, ट्रेड को बनने देते हैं, हर रोज स्कैनिंग करेंगे, हर रोज स्कैनिंग करके उसमें से ट्रेड सेटअप्स निकालते हैं जो कि एकदम ऑब्वियस हो। क्योंकि कभी कभी होता है 12 महीने में से 2 महीने ऐसे निकल जाते हैं जो साइडवेज चलते हैं, और साइडवेज में आप जो भी अपॉर्चुनिटीज ढूंढने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, या तो आप थक जाओगे, और या वो अपॉर्चुनिटी आके आपके स्टॉप लॉस को विक्स विक्स में निकाल देंगे, जैसे लॉरस लैब्स फॉर एग्जांपल। सो माय सजेशन इज that instead of fussing over it, just relax, take it easy, and look for another opportunity next month. All right, don't do something you'll regret. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys next weekend. Till then, take care.